With us now, investigative journalist, founder of the Disinformation Chronicle, Paul Thacker. Paul, good to be with you. Appreciate it. Look, we got to be fair about this, right? And there are times that it is governments sort of trying to curtail speech. That's different than private companies trying to curtail speech. Is that an important distinction to make? And how do we make it going forward when we've seen governments try to influence private companies to curtail speech?
Look, when all this stuff first started, what people were saying is that, Twitter's a private company, Facebook's a private company, they can do what they want to do. And then the whole narrative started to change when documents started to come out from a court case launched by a couple of attorney generals, and also when people such as myself went to Twitter. And so now we know what's going on is these companies, they're not really behaving in a private fashion. They're behaving in response to pressure from the federal government, different federal agencies. That's what's really happening right now.
We went through so many times that misinformation later turned out to be true, right? Hunter Biden's laptop, problems with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, the Wuhan lab theory, masks, and their effectiveness, even the East Palestine water story that we've been covering as well. You make the point over and over that oftentimes the fact checks and the decision on what is and not is disinformation isn't necessarily based on facts as much as it is based on narrative. Isn't there at times some information that is actually disinformation that should be labeled as such?
Well, I think that's a good question, and that gets into some very narrow issues about, free speech issues, which I'm not totally familiar with. I think the problem we have, again, like you said, it's the history. What we know is over and over again, we've seen things that are factually accurate labeled as misinformation, disinformation. These fact checkers, they check narratives, not facts, and they've been wrong over and over again. And I think we need to just totally do away with this whole fact-checking industry and get a lot of these groups back to doing journalism.
I'll end with this. What does it tell us that so often when people ask difficult questions or pose sort of counter-narrative facts, it's labeled as disinformation, and the leaders in our government oftentimes aren't willing to have a discussion based on the facts. They just want to dismiss the narrative.
Well, I think what it is, for so long they've had control over the narrative. Now we have an internet. Look, I'm on an internet television program right now. And so people can produce news that can get around, the traditional ways the government had on controlling information. They can't do that anymore. And so they can go to the Washington Post, they can go to the New York Times, ABC News, CBS News, get their message out, and then that message gets eroded on the internet when people start putting out documents or putting out different opinions. And so they're trying to shut that down. And that's why they created this disinformation machinery that's out there to label things that, don't fit official government policy.
All right. Hey, Paul, thank you very much. I would be remiss if I didn't mention to you, we're on the internet. We're also on cable in 80+ million homes where there's a lot of folks watching us as well, and we appreciate their viewership as well. Paul, it's good to see you. Keep up the great work.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Darrell West with us now of the Brookings Institution. Darrell, what did we get wrong?
Well, there is disinformation that is very harmful to people, and certainly in the vaccine area, there are people who ended up dying because they believe vaccines were dangerous. And so I think a lot of the problems that Democrats have with Robert Kennedy Jr. is they see him spouting information that actually harmed individuals. So that's not the same as denying his freedom of speech. It's basically trying to deal with information that is factually inaccurate and that has deadly consequences for some of those individuals.
I hear you, and my question becomes, how is it that we keep having things that are called and labeled disinformation that later end up being true? If you get the COVID vaccine, you won't get COVID. If you question that, it was labeled disinformation, you were banned, you were censored. How can people continue to say, we have all the facts, we are the arbiters of truth, when they're then determined to be wrong?
Well, that's a good point, and there certainly is a lot of contested facts out there these days. But I think we still have to trust the medical experts. It doesn't mean they're right 100% of the time. But America has a long history of vaccinating people against a wide range of diseases.
I don't want to get into an argument.
We have gotten rid of a lot of those diseases. We've been very effective in that regard.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.